Hi everybody, I am Megha Bhatia this side and I'm the founder of Arua. Today we are going to have an important conversation on the issue of child sexual abuse. Indian children are raped, they are bullied and they are harassed. At the same time, it is so important that we speak up against violence, we speak up against child sexual abuse. To start the conversation on the issue of child sexual abuse, today we are going to have a very special guest with us. Her name is Ira Khan. She is the founder of Agatsu Foundation. And people whoever is joining us, please share it in the comment section. Where are you joining us from? What's your name? And you're joining us from which state? Today we talk about the issue of child sexual abuse, and I believe talking about it is should not be just a one time thing. It should be a conversation which we should be having every single day for our children. Share it in the comment section if you believe in the same too. If you believe that it is important that we raise our voice against violence today and it should not be a thing of the future. Mention yes in the comment section as I bring Ira Khan with me live right now. She's the founder of Agatsu Foundation. She has been doing wonderful work and raising her voice against the issue of child sexual abuse as well as on mental health. So without further delay, I'll just bring her live with me right now. And if you believe that we need to raise our voice against violence, mention yes in the comment section right now. Hello, Ira. How are you? You okay? Yes. So, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, Ira.
Yes, because I saw your video. Because a lot of people pronounce it as era, so I checked it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna make that mistake. So, how's your day going so far?
Um, it's going okay. It's the weekend, so I try and relax.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah.
So first of all, thank you, Ira, for taking out time. I know you have a very busy schedule. Thank you for taking out time and initiating to like start the conversation about an issue जिसके बारे में बहुत कम लोग बात करते हैं. So to start with, I would like to know what has been your journey जब हम child safety की बात करें या child sexual abuse की बात करें. Would you like to share your journey?
Um, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that question. Like, do you mean like in school or in my life
Yes, in your
personally?
life, have you ever experienced, because जब मैं छोटी थी, I have seen violence happening in front of me, but चाहे वो bullying हो जाए, चाहे वो abuse हो जाए, चाहे teacher का hitting a child हो जाए, चाहे sexual violence हो जाए या harassment हो जाए, we going from school to our houses and रास्ते पे कोई सीटी मार रहा है, that is also harassment. So have you ever experienced such kind of harassment happening to your friends or near ones, or like when you were young?
Um, so I think I'm a not a great, example because I think I lived a very sheltered life. And I have never seen anyone be hit in real life. I've only seen it on TV.
Okay.
So in my actual life, when people on like when you have road fights and people start shouting at each other on the road because there was some tucker or something,
Hmm.
I get scared of that. That is the
Hmm.
brutality I have seen
Hmm.
in person in terms of violence.
Hmm.
Um, I think there were two times in my life when lots of people started to come out about um, their sexual abuse. One was when Satyam Vijay's episode on child sexual abuse came out.
Yes.
Uh, Suddenly, everyone like I found out about everyone in my life who had faced it,
Hmm.
uh, and whether it's a good thing or not a good thing, but I feel like at that point we all sort of acknowledged like whoever had been through it had experienced child sexual abuse.
Hmm.
Uh, but thankfully, no one was going through it at that point. It was something that happened to them.
Hmm.
Um, and then the second time was when the Me Too movement happened, and then
Hmm.
then again, the
People
circle
start.
of how
Hmm.
many people it had happened to grew.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Uh, yeah,
Yes, but I think when Satya Mein Vijay the episode got released, a lot of people started talking about it at least. क्योंकि
yeah.
ये एक ऐसा issue था जिसके बारे में people were hesitant कि oh my god we cannot talk about sex or we cannot talk about violence happening to our children also. So it was a good initiative that people at least started acknowledging it's happening and we need to do something about it.
Yeah.
Another question that I would like to pose to you is a lot of time we end up teaching children that stranger danger, that you should avoid strangers. But what we have observed, even through statistics, a lot of time abuse happens through a known person, like somebody known to the child. What's your take on that?
So I can only tell you based on, I mean, I've seen the same statistics you've seen. So
Hmm.
um, it the numbers seem to show that most of the times it's someone who you know or it's someone within the family, extended family, you
Hmm.
know. Um, and I mean, in amongst the people I know, yeah, it has happened more with people they know than people they
Hmm.
don't know.
Hmm.
Um, and I guess that just makes it harder to deal with
Hmm.
on some level.
Yes, when a known person is doing
Yeah,
something like that. And sometimes children also face that they're not able to realize that it's happening with them because it's a known person.
yeah. I mean, that's sort of what happened with me. I spent so like because I sort of knew the person for
Hmm.
the whole time. Like so, when it happened to me, I stopped it as soon as I figured out that
Hmm.
that is exactly what was happening. But it
Hmm.
took me so long to figure
Hmm.
that because I was like, no, it
Hmm.
must be fake. They don't know what they're doing. It's not what they mean to do. And
Yes.
now it's awkward for me to bring it up.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I think it's harder when you know the person. The confrontation is harder.
Hmm.
A lot of things get more complicated, and then also
Hmm.
it's harder for the. I mean, if you're working, then you leave your children with your extended family, and you
Yes.
assume that you can trust them. So
Yes. It
yeah,
becomes harder.
it
So,
becomes.
what is the role of a parent? Because in, I think your case, your parents were supportive and they understood that. But a lot of time, I have seen parents trying to hush the topic. Parents trying to say that, oh, it's not going to happen, or it has not even happened. They are in denial. कि ऐसा मेरे बच्चे के साथ हो ही नहीं सकता. So, what do you think, and what will be your message to parents who are listening to us right now? कि if a child is coming to you, it takes courage to speak up, right? And you must be aware about it. So, what will be your message to parents if a child is coming to you?
I think you just have to believe them.
Hmm.
Uh, in the sense that you may not know how to deal with the situation. You might get scared. You might be confused. You might be like, "Oh my God, what is happening?" But
Hmm.
you need the first thing you need to do is make sure that they know that you believe them.
Hmm.
And then you deal with the practicalities of how to deal with the situation. That's step two. First, you have to make sure the child knows that you believe them.
Hmm.
I mean, I've heard lots of stories of people who said they told their mom or they told their dad or they told someone, and that person was just like, no, that didn't happen. And I think
Yes.
that really must feel terrible. I don't even know what that must feel like,
Yes.
because so I had to write emails. I couldn't tell anyone. I had to write an email and then I would send the email and then I would go and be like, hey, can you check your email? Because, it's
Hmm.
hard to,
Speak up, like
it's sometimes
express it.
those things, and also you want to make sure you explained it properly, and sometimes that doesn't happen like that. So
Hmm.
it's if your child has come and told you, then I mean, I think it's your responsibility to make sure that they feel that they know that you believe them,
Hmm.
and then you can figure out how
Hmm.
to deal with it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when you when you raised your voice, what will be your message to other children? I know even if children are 14 years old, 17 years old, I have seen people still struggling to raise their voice because of hesitation, because of fear that the culprit might harm their parents, the culprit might harm them. So people who are listening to us, and it can be boys also who might be going through violence, right? हमारी society में इतना बात नहीं करते कि लड़कों के साथ भी violence होता है. But
But
what will be your message?
says that more boys go through child sexual abuse than girls.
Girls, yes,
So,
exactly. So what will be
yeah.
your message to them who are feeling hesitant to talk about it? क्यों जरूरी है कि they speak up? I know tough होता है speak up करना, but why?
Um, I think uh, I think if you're going through it, you should speak up so that you can get out of that situation because you don't want to be in that situation anymore.
Hmm.
Um, and there, and like I said, there are different ways in which you can bring it up. If you feel like you can't have that conversation with them
Hmm.
verbally
Hmm.
now, you can write them a letter, you can write them an email. Now, there are various ways in which you can tell them what's happened.
Yes.
Um, I think I think the most important thing is for you to feel safe.
Yes.
And so, if you need help to get out of the situation that you're in, then
Hmm.
you should talk about it. And then you should reach out for help
Exactly.
to get out of that situation. And, there are lots of organizations that can help you if you're worried that your parents might not understand. Maybe
Hmm.
find a best friend to come with you.
Hmm.
Uh, find an aunt or an uncle or someone else in the family who you feel like you can tell to be able to
Hmm.
go, to talk to your parents with you. I think
Hmm.
so. I don't know what you mean by what you specifically mean when you say raise your voice. I
Hmm.
think it's important to talk about these things if it makes your life better. So if I'm
Hmm.
going through something and I can't handle it on my own and
Hmm.
I'm struggling, then I should ask for help.
Exactly.
Um, but I think you should do whatever makes you feel safest.
Mm-hmm, exactly. That's what I mean. That in case you're not able to do it alone, you're not able to raise your voice alone, you can always seek help with your near and dear ones. There are online organizations also. Childline is available. It's a national helpline number 1098. Or seek help from your near and dear ones, like to people who are listening to us. Another question to you, Era, is when I was young, okay, so we used to have these science ka chapter, reproduction chapter, and our teachers used to never teach us. They used to be like, this topic, you do it at your home. And still, I believe there are no mandatory curriculum when we talk about child sexual abuse or sex education. India में mandatory नहीं है when we talk about entire India. At Arwa, we have been building a lot of resources like animated movies for children. So, what do you think? Do we really need a mandatory curriculum in India where we are taught about our bodies? Like, it should be a necessity, not a luxury that we are giving to our children. What's your take on this?
I think my timeline is very off, okay, so I don't remember how old I was, but some between the age of 10 and 14,
Hmm.
I think my mother taught me about good touch, bad touch,
Hmm.
like what is a good touch, what is a bad touch.
Hmm.
Uh, and we did study the reproductive system in school, but from a biology point of view.
Yes.
Um, there was very little sex ed. Um, I think it's very important to be taught in school. I mean, there's not really a question about it.
Hmm.
Because I think that you need to learn it somewhere,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And it's better to learn it from school and from your parents than from some random source on the internet that might scar you and not actually teach you anything. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, I think parents should teach it to their children and have that conversation with them. But if they can't, then we have an education system. So at least, at least the basics of what a good touch is, what a bad touch is, what your rights
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
on body. Those, I mean, Even if you feel uncomfortable talking about sex, don't talk about sex. Just talk
Hmm.
about what a child's rights about their body are, what,
Hmm.
how to know, how to
Hmm.
scream around when you need to.
Exactly.
You
And it's just even basics we need to share it with them, like about their body, safe touch, unsafe touch, and then move on to the sex education aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Era, I have seen your videos about mental health. बहुत सारी videos I've seen it. So, I want to know, you started your organization at the age of 21. It's a very young age to start an organization and talk about it. So, I want to know, did you face any challenges? Like, जब मैंने अपनी organization start करी थी, I was 24. So people used to tell me, "Oh, you're too young. You cannot run an organization." Even though I had done my masters from London, I had proper qualification and knowledge. But लोग बहुत सारी चीजें बोलते हैं, and even I can see a lot of comments of people. So, what do you feel कि जब did you face any challenges? If yes, how you handled it? Because there are a lot of young entrepreneurs, young people who want to raise their voice on such issues. So, how you handled it?
Um, I have zero qualifications to be a CEO or to start a company because I did all my classes in college. I never did a business class and I
Hmm.
never did an economics class and I never
Yeah.
did a none of those classes. I never did those. So
Hmm.
um, I think I struggled more internally while trying to set up my company
Hmm.
um, because there were so many things that I had absolutely no clue about. Um, I also didn't know what startup culture was like. So I didn't know it was normal for you to fail multiple times before you figure out what you're supposed to do. I did not know
Yes.
that that's how everybody does it. I was
Hmm.
so used to, working on something for 2, 3 months and then figuring it out and then starting it.
Hmm.
But apparently that's not happens. Apparently you go up and down a few times before you figure out, you know, what to do. Um,
Hmm. Exactly.
so I realized that you have to keep trying. And I think the most important thing is to sort of figure out why you wanted to do it in the first place, because you're going to have to keep
Hmm.
coming back to that to keep you going.
Exactly.
Um, and Yeah, I think it's important to understand why you want to raise your voice. What is it exactly that you want to say before
Hmm.
you start doing that? Because social media is volatile.
Hmm.
Um, it can go either way. People say lots of things. You don't have a lot of control.
Exactly.
Uh, so when you decide to, talk about things, I think it's important for you to know why you want to talk about it, and what
Hmm.
exactly you're trying to do. Um,
Exactly. So it is so important to know the why.
yeah, like everyone says you should raise your voice about lots of things,
Hmm.
but why are you personally raising your voice about that particular thing? You don't need to tell anyone. You
Hmm.
just need to know for
Yes.
yourself why you're doing it, so that then that can help you figure out every other
Hmm.
decision.
Exactly. And this reminds me of a line. So when I used to pitch now about Arhua, I used to not share my story or I used to not share about violence. And my teacher taught me that your story is going to make you strong and it is not going to make you weak. So to people also who are listening to us, there are instances in our life जो हमें motivate करते हैं चीजें start करने के लिए, stick to that because it's gonna impact a larger audience. Like you raising your voice right now, I'm sure it's gonna be inspiring for a lot of young children to speak up. कि Ira is raising her voice, why can't we? God bless you. Yes. So, Ira, what will be your last message to the audience who are listening to us when we talk about safety and ensuring safety a click away hoye, like that's what we are aiming to do at Arua. What will be your last message, चाहे वो youth है, चाहे वो parents है, चाहे वो teachers है, how can they ensure that there is no silence around the issue of CSA?
Um, hmm. I so recently someone helped me figure out the right word for for this. I think. I don't know whether that's what I want to say. Oh my God, I don't know. Um, I so I don't know whether it's live yet, but I've seen some of your animated videos, and
Yes.
I think that uh, I think that it's hard to imagine the fear and those things that those emotions that a child goes through when they're when they're put into this situation, and something like child sexual abuse is happening to them.
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, and it's and The world is a very big place, and there are lots of bad things happening and lots of good things
Yes.
happening, and generally lots of things happening. And
Yes.
so sometimes we let things slip
Hmm.
unintentionally. But, you can't do everything every day.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Something like child safety, I think, is very important because it has a very lasting effect on the child. Um, and like your organization and the helpline that you were talking about, there are lots of these NGOs and organizations that are doing their
Hmm.
bit.
Hmm. Yes.
Uh, but as a regular person, you have to then do your bit to
Yes.
educate yourself, or to get, you're creating these resources, but people have to go out there and use these resources.
Exactly.
And people are gathering statistics, and they're doing, like, the organizations are doing what they can, but I feel like the people also have to
Hmm.
come to that point where they
Exactly.
bother to educate themselves, and um, and make their own decisions for how they deal with that
Hmm.
particular issue, like in this case, child sexual abuse. So,
Hmm.
um, so I think that would be my message.
Hmm. I
Uh,
understand. So,
do a little bit of your own research, figure out the resources that you think are useful to you, and then use them.
hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Exactly. I understand. So it's not about just organizations doing their bit जब child sexual abuse की बात कर रहे हैं. It is actually each one of us and every single person who is surviving should be raising their voice, should be gaining knowledge about it and doing their own bits and pieces अपनी life में. It can start with their own home. Maybe शायद if they have a child or a cousin, starting the talk about such an issue, or if they are a young child, like I've seen a lot of children campaigning about it, about bullying, about cyber safety अपने school के level में. So as just Ira just told ki it's not necessary what your age is. You can take initiatives at your own place, and it's not necessary what your qualification is also. You can always gain knowledge, and you can learn about it and talk about it.
yeah,
Yes. Thank you so much, Ira, for joining us for this discussion. I think ये बहुत important था इसके बारे में बात करना, and we'll be sharing this to like all our people also from different states. And thank you so much for joining in and taking out time. I totally appreciate it.
anytime. I really like your videos. I think they're pretty cool.
Yes, thank you so much. And our course, body safety course, is available for free also. So courses.rvoice.com is a platform where you can enroll your child and do the course for free. Yes.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take
Have a
care.
nice day.
Same to you. Bye.
Bye.
So this was Ira Khan with us sharing about the issue of child sexual abuse prevention. I believe that it is important we talk about child abuse prevention because if not us, then who? And if not right now, then when? You can check out our website, you can check out our YouTube channel. We have a lot of animated resources where we are teaching the message about safety to children in a very, very child friendly manner. हमें पता है चाइल्ड सेक्सुअल अब्यूज एक स्कैरी टॉपिक है, इसके बारे में बात करने में बहुत हेजिटेशन होती है, बट इसके बारे में बात करना ज़रूरी है. साइनिंग ऑफ राइट नाउ. थैंक यू सो मच एवरीबडी जिन्होंने हमें ज्वाइन करा है अलग अलग स्टेट से, अलग अलग कंट्रीज से. लेट्स डू अ बिट टू इंश्योर दैट आवर चिल्ड्रन आर सेफ.